But welcome everybody to Screen Weens. We're in separate houses today because Thomas is under house arrest because he decided that, as well as watching Family Guy, he was going to act out everything that happened in Family Guy. So, there's a lot of people dead now. Oh yeah, episode 103.
There's also a lot of people angry at me on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Episode 103, and
the worst episode
was this
yet.
A painful one.
It's,
yeah. This is probably the most excruciating pick we've had.
We've watched very bad things, but most of those very bad things were under 2 hours. I can't think of a double feature. Have we had any really, really bad double features?
Some of the bag stuff, but even then, the thing that separates Family Guy from most of the bag stuff is, a lot of the bag stuff we choose, there is effort being put into it, whereas Family Guy just feels like a mean-spirited, low-effort show at this point.
Yeah. And
it always kind of has been, but even more so now than ever before, so it's just
It's really...
Go ahead. I was going to say, I was going to do a tally where I was going to count the amount of times that I laughed per episode and the amount of just racial jokes per episode. Specifically, I could have broadened it and done any sort of targeted joke, but I felt like racist jokes would be the easiest to spot. But then I realized I don't want to be that active while watching Family Guy, so I put it on mostly kind of while I organize stuff in the background. I absorbed. Yeah.
I was watching, but I was I had to do stuff on my phone to just get through it. I was just oh my god, my face was melting. And I will say, I only watched 19 of the episodes because, like I said, that 20th episode I watched a month and a half ago. I'm okay. I remember the 9/11 joke. It's fine. That was the only thing only thing memorable from that episode.
I find that ironic because Seth MacFarlane is famously barely missed being on one of those planes. Apparently he was supposed to get on one of the planes that was crashed into the Twin Towers. He had the ticket and everything, but he had just I think he was drunk and woke up late with a hangover, but it's just damn, okay. I mean, yeah, I think 9/11 jokes can be funny. I don't think the one in that episode was, but
I think I chuckled 3 times throughout the 19 episodes I watched.
There was only one time where I chuckled. There was an episode concept that I kind of liked, but both of those times I laughed because it seemed like something that The Simpsons would do. Because I'm this feels like a classic Simpsons bit. And then I realized I'm watching Family Guy. I'm the episode where Peter and Chris go to hotel breakfasts. That's a very Simpsons situation. I could see Homer and Bart doing that for a B plot of an episode.
Yeah.
But yeah. There was a line in the first episode right after Stewie cusses where he's because they don't have the cookies, and then Peter's oh no, this means we have to go get breakfast immediately. And I thought that was also a very Homer Simpson line, and I laughed at that one.
Let's go.
Yeah. But that was it. Those are the only 2 times I can really think back and go, yeah, I laughed. The rest of it was just me going, oh god, why?
I feel
why am I watching this?
I feel
why didn't we choose half the season?
The later part of the season, anytime I smiled or chuckled, it was more deliriousness from being I'm watching Family Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, before we get into the whole season, I guess we'll just go over a brief thing. And Thomas, oh my god. So I was gonna pick something for my pick this week, and I'm I don't have to worry about this because Thomas never watches new movies right when they come out, and you've watched the first 2.
If you want to pick those, I'm down to rewatch them. because the third one comes out like at the end of this week.
It comes out,
and I'm
yeah,
gonna
2 days.
watch that.
Okay.
So if you want to, I'm totally down to watch those. But yeah, I guess we'll find out at the end of the episode if we watch.
Yeah, we'll
that
see.
Or not.
But what do you think of them?
I thought they were pretty good. They're not reinventing the wheel or anything. They're just kind of like well done slashers with kind of like a modern edge to them. It definitely has its issues. Like they've got that kind of like in your face attitude that like Stranger Things has. And,
we're talking about Fear Street.
This is a common. Yes. Your camera. Oh, never mind. It's back. Okay. Anyway, so basically, like, yeah, it's got that kind of in your face attitude. Some of the nostalgic fan service can be a little much at times. But like, I had fun with it. I thought the second one was significantly less tighter compared to the first one. Like there was I had a lot more like, the first one I was like, this is great. And then the second one I was like, oh, this is like, I still had a fun time and I enjoyed it, but there was a lot more noticeable issues I had with it. Things that I think were done more effectively in the first one. So I'm actually kind of interested to rewatch the first one to see if it still holds up for me now that I've noticed certain issues that I've had with the writing. But, yeah.
And is it connected just by like the location, or is there like some sort of...
So, yeah, they all take place in the same town, and 1994 is like the year where like basically like the best way I can kind of describe this is like, think about how One Piece takes place in the modern day and how sometimes they'll like flash back to issues that have been building up over a long period of time. That way they can take care of them in the modern day. That's kind of like what the sequels are like. So like you go back to the 70s in the second one and you see like what happened in an older event of this town that's going to feed into the conclusion in the third part. But yeah, so it's like 94 is like the year. It's got like an A and B plot going on, but like most of the second movie takes place in the 70s. Like it's basically like a movie with a bit of a setup at the beginning and end.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. And then I saw, did you rewatch Halloween 1 and 2?
I did.
How was that? I haven't seen Halloween 2.
It's good. Like, I think Halloween 2 it's probably one of the stronger sequels overall. I think, like, the first 60 minutes of the movie are pretty not good. But, like, once you get to that last, like, 20 minutes, it's actually really good. I really like the last, like, final sequence of the movie. Good. Yeah, it's like one of those things. I've heard it described as, like, basically Halloween 2 is like the DLC you'll get for the movie, where you get like one really cool extra level and then like the rest of it's just kind of like eh. And yeah, I feel like that's like an accurate description of it. But yeah, so I rewatched those. I picked up some horror figures. I'm only going to show you the one I've got here because I don't feel like walking over. But I got this little Audrey 2 pop vinyl.
Oh, it's Audrey 2.
And yeah, usually I'm not super big on pop vinyls, but this design actually I think works pretty well because he's got a big round head already. So, or she. It is Audrey 2 after all. But yeah. So that's pretty much been my week. That and Family Guy and work. Allie. But yeah. Don't knit a sweater.
Don't knit a sweater.
Did you find that episode had like that fucking Fright Night sequence just totally ripped into it and they didn't even acknowledge it, and I was just like, you could have totally fucking recommended that movie to a whole new generation right there, but you chose not to. That's like one of my least favorite things. Like, I like when animated shows can like do like sequences from old movies, but I like it when they acknowledge that they're doing it and not just straight up like ripping off this great scene from a movie just in their show and not even like mentioning it once or anything.
See, this is good proof that my cat actually does like me. Because anytime anyone's around, Allie's like, "Oh, I'm fucking out of here."
Just like,
but Allie doesn't understand how cameras work. I get you. It's just like, but then they will do like blatant references to something where they'll just be like, "And this is this," and then just cut to a real footage of it. And I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
But,
that or they have a whole episode that's just full of like Godfather bits, and it's just like,
yeah, I'm like, I haven't seen The Godfather, so I don't know what this is about. But
yeah, I'm sure that episode is pretty wild for you. You're just like, reference after reference that I don't understand, but I can see that you're doing.
Yeah. Did I watch anything this week? Oh God, I watched Black Widow. Bad.
Oh yeah, how was it? Bad. Yeah,
I thought it was bad.
Did Loki wrap up this week, or is that like the next episode?
We didn't watch it yet. We might watch it tonight. We might watch it tomorrow. That's been pretty bad too.
So I've heard.
It's. I think they're doing like. I know this is probably going to set up maybe the main antagonist of Phase 4. I'm not quite sure. That's kind of seems like what they might be trying to do. I'm not quite sure yet though. But yeah, it was bad. What else did I do? I rewatched Hathaway, or did I watch Hathaway the second time last week? I can't remember.
I don't know if you had said you would watch. I think you had watched it twice last week. I think you guys said you had watched it twice.
I didn't rewatch it the third time yet. We watched Dynasty Warriors.
Oh yeah,
that was awesome.
How was that? Was it?
Yeah, it's like. It's so fucking dumb, and like the CG's really bad in it, but like it's stylized and it's fun, so I'm okay with like bad CG. I think it can even add charm to movies if it's creative enough, if that makes sense. And it's exactly like the video game, like Lou Boo's running around shooting lightning at people and just being like indestructible, and it's just a very fun movie. It has its flaws, but it was fun, and I really like Dynasty Warriors. So we also watched Thor 2, which is the only MCU movie I had not seen before, and it was bad. It was better than Thor 1 though, because Thor 1 was like aggressively bad. Thor 2 was just a little boring.
I just whenever I think of Thor 1, I just think of all the Dutch angles they fucking use in that movie.
It's like it's either really boring like and really obnoxious, or it's like I'm gonna throw up from all these Dutch angles. It's like every other
yeah, this
shot.
scene would be much more interesting if we almost decided to tip the camera sideways, and it's just like, oh, it's not.
And I watched Luca again, the Pixar movie.
Oh, nice.
Hinata is really into that movie, and so we watched again. Still really good. Still holds up. I think that in general, the first like half of it is a little weaker than I remember, but I think the second half's a little stronger. So,
okay,
it's a good movie. It's fun. Very yay. People that don't like see the very like straightforward like gay undertones, I'm like, what the fuck are you watching?
Yeah. No, I find it funny how people like stretch and bend to avoid that kind of like subject matter when it's like so clearly obvious in a lot of stuff.
But yeah, I went to the bookstore today and I picked up this book because it looked. I picked it up solely because of the name, which was "When the Gods Are Silent," and I also liked the cover art. So I have no idea if it's any good, but
is that a pirate on the front?
It's a woman, and it looks like she has a bow and arrow. She's an archer.
Oh, okay.
And she's standing in front of some sort of crystal.
I thought she was wearing like a red bandana. Like a pirate bandana.
She just has red hair. Also, I got...
I see.
I got the visual dictionary for Revenge of the Sith.
Ooh.
Oh, that's fun. It's got a section on tri-fighters and buzz droids.
Oh, nice.
I had the visual dictionary growing up for Phantom Menace, and I would read it like all the time. I really liked it. There was a really cool like over the head shot of one of the big droid tanks that fold out all the droids, and I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. So yeah, I'm glad. I want to pick up all of these because I really like these actually.
Yeah, that's fair. Seems like there'd be a lot of good like stuff in there.
Yeah.
Especially like behind the scenes images.
But after I finished Family Guy today, I'm like, I need to do some stuff. So we've been playing like a lot of Knockout City this week. I'm really enjoying that game. There's not a big player base, which is unfortunate, but I'm really enjoying it, like the main gameplay. So, yeah, that's been my week, and then just working. It's been really busy at the shop, so yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, we can talk about Family Guy.
I think oh boy.
So
Well, it seems today that all you see is violence in movies and sex on TV.
But where are those good old-fashioned values on which we used to rely?
God. Okay. Well, this show is fucking insufferable.
It's real bad. And it's like, I remember watching it as a kid and like laughing at parts, but that doesn't mean anything. But it's just like,
yeah,
this show's like it's really homophobic and it's really racist and it's really sexist and it's like all done under the guise of like social commentary, but it's never commentary on anything really. It's just like, look, white people are racist, huh? And I'm like, yeah, you are. Like,
yeah,
it's very frustrating to watch because like there are shows that handle it pretty well. Like I do think that It's Always Sunny. It doesn't always work with its like commentary, but in general, it's put in more effort and they don't like punch down all the time. While Family Guy is just like, hey, this is made by a rich white guy who's constantly making fun of women, calling them ugly and useless, and let's also make fun of brown and black people, and it's just ridiculously, and it's like none of it's funny. It's just edgy.
No. Yeah, no, it really is. I watched this show for probably a lot longer than you did. Like, I watched this one growing up because, like, as a kid, you know, it was really appealing to me because it was like that show that was like the 18 and plus Simpsons. I wasn't allowed to watch it for a decent chunk of my childhood because it was a lot edgier.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch this until I was like 13, I think.
Yeah, I remember watching like little bits and pieces because I used to watch like Fox Animation Domination when I was like a little kid, like when I was like 5. And then once I got a little older, my parents were like, all right, we probably shouldn't let him watch this. And then like I started watching it again when I was like 11. And yeah, like I watched through, I'm going through like the Hulu seasons here, trying to figure out what season I would have stopped on. And it would have been like, looking at this, probably season 13. It was like shortly after the Simpsons crossover. Like I think I had probably been done at that point, but that had probably like just caught my curiosity. Yeah, they did a crossover with the Simpsons.
I think I watched like the first like 6 seasons. And then I've seen like since, but I haven't watched the show in probably like 8 years.
Yeah. It kind of caught me off guard because I wasn't expecting it. I guess I should have expected this, but to be like so like the modern jabs of it, like poking at people on like Twitter and like just like
it's just like
the internet trends.
Yeah, it's really obvious that Seth MacFarlane is just becoming like a grumpy old man because a lot of it is just like making fun of young people for being on the computer.
Yeah, and I don't even know how much of the show he honestly has like creative involvement in anymore because like I know he voices all the characters and stuff, but like I had honestly, like, the last couple years, I've been like, Seth MacFarlane, say what you will about him, but I think that there's, like, a good writer in there, because, like, I've seen, like, The Orville and stuff, and I like that, and I think he's a pretty talented guy overall. It's just that he basically, like, wasted all of his potential on Family Guy for a long time, but rewatching the series, I'm just like, oh, maybe not. Because, like, The Orville is, like, a completely different brand of show from this. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a lot less mean-spirited and racist and actually has some... I'm not going to say the commentary in The Orville is, like, genius or anything, because it's not, but it's at least more substantive and tries harder to this. Yeah, so it's just like, huh. So, yeah, I just think that this is probably a dead horse show that has just been beaten. It's entering that Simpsons category where it's like everyone kind of agrees it's gone on way too long, but so many weekly watchers just still watch it that it's going to just keep going forever.
And it's just like, what I wasn't expecting was like how many reference jokes they have just to earlier jokes. Like, they did a Surfing Bird joke in like 2 or 3 episodes, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, and there's a lot of episodes where, like, it felt like they were taking old episode concepts or intros that they had done before and kind of, like, repurposing them. Like, there's, like, an old episode where, like, Lois goes berserk on Christmas because she runs out of paper towels. And that felt kind of similar to the setup for, like, the Christmas episode they had in this season. And it's just like, I don't know. But yeah, we got 20 episodes. Do you just want to briefly, I guess, discuss the plots of all of them?
The problem with discussing the plots of Family Guy episodes is, like, they don't have one. Like, it'll have, like, a 5-minute intro sequence, which will set up, like, a little plot, which will go into, like, a bigger plot. But the thing is, they all just form this, the whole season is just this one gigantic clump of nonsense.
Yeah, like, the plots are very, like, just there for setups for, like, cutaway gags and edgy jokes, for sure. Like, the two... And very little substance.
The two most, like, straightforward plots, I guess, are there was the Terminator remake one.
Yeah, that episode was strange.
Yeah. And there was, I guess, even the Cutaway Land one was probably the most substantial plot because all the cutaways tied directly to that plot because they were going in it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
let's go through real quick, I guess.
Yeah, there's an episode where Stewie curses in church, which causes the entire town of Quahog to basically assume that Lois is a bad mother because she caused her child to curse because she curses. And it's like, she just snaps to the realization, hey, just because I've got a dirty mouth doesn't mean I'm a bad person. Like, out of fucking nowhere, just because, like, oh yeah, we gotta wrap this episode up. Then they do The Talented Mr. Stewie, which is the episode where Stewie finds out Rupert used to belong to Chris. That, it's like the Hitchcock references and shit.
They make sexual jokes about Stewie every episode, and they have for 19 seasons, and it's so fucking gross. It's like really weird.
I don't know, like, there was a couple extreme cases in this season. Like, there's one where he goes into, like, a bathroom in one episode and instantly walks out and he's like, I've got a lollipop, and it's just like a little, like,
they have this
text at the bottom saying, like, he was assaulted and he's blocking it out, and it's just like Brian just doesn't want to have a long conversation about it, so he pretends the lollipop's there, and it's just like, okay, this is gross. And then there's the episode later on where he gets like a mail order bride, and I thought that they were going to go down the darker route. Thankfully, she only has sex with the dog, so we're okay there, I guess, by Family Guy standards. Because that is also a thing that is normalized in this show. But, yeah, there is an episode where Stewie and Chris raise a squirrel. I don't remember what Peter was doing in that episode. I don't remember what, like, any of the fucking B or C plots are for any of these. There's the Cutaway Land episode That one, not good. Let's see. They have a line in one of the episodes. I don't think it was the Cutaway Land episode. I think it's a later one. But they pull out this the Rick and Morty teleporter and they go, they've borrowed enough from us.
And I'm like, what are
and
you
I was like,
talking
I don't
about?
think they have.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think they have.
And I mean, and you borrowed
the fact
so
they're an
much
adult
from
animated
The
show?
Simpsons.
Yeah, it's just what? And it's Rick and Morty is I don't know. I think it's 1,000 times better than this series is for sure.
If I rewatched Rick and Morty, I don't know if I would enjoy it anymore. But I would. It has effort. The jokes are usually actual jokes instead of just
they actually have a plot structure for pretty much all of their episodes.
And they actually have interesting ideas. They have overarching themes and they have character growth, even if it's slight. There are things to keep you engaged, while Family Guy is nothing will ever change. I guess Brian died for half a season, but then he just came back. 3
episodes. Yeah. Let's see. There's the La Famiglia. I don't know how to pronounce that. The Godfather episode.
Yep, where it's just the Godfather.
There's the episode Meg's Wedding, where Meg is underage Meg is engaged to a 50-year-old guy, but the problem everybody has with it is the fact that he's gay, not that he's old. That was one hell of an episode. That one probably... there's a lot of problematic episodes, but that one may have been close to the top of the chart for me. Because, I just thought that one was just, I don't know how they got away with an episode like that in this day and age.
I don't. I just most don't of these understand. Episodes, I do not.
But I guess I don't understand how they... Yeah. Wild Wild West, the one where fucking Sam Elliott, is that guy's name?
If that wasn't Sam Elliott, I'd be very shocked.
Yeah, he plays Wild Wild West because Adam West died a couple of years ago, and I guess this is the season where they ran out of material for him. Let's see, we got the episode where the Pawtucket fucking brewery turns out that they stole their beer recipe from Native Americans, and it's making fun of the the statue situations from earlier in 2020 during all the protests when people were taking down statues of racist figures and shit. There's the episode where Lois pretends to go to Cabo for Christmas so she can actually ruin their Christmas and blame it on the Muslim neighbors. That was a fun little way to end that episode.
Yep.
Not really. That was sarcastic. We've got Fecal Matters, the one where Peter becomes a nurse and has to go through an arc where he learns to save the chicken's life. Because the chicken that he always fights is in there dying. Yeah,
that was episode 10, I think. And I was literally the episode before, I'm wow, I'm surprised I haven't seen the chicken yet. And then he showed up and then he showed up 2 episodes later in the Terminator one.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I was disappointed. I wanted that episode to end in a fucking brawl. Because, say what you will about Family Guy, at least, they've got some of those, chicken sequences are, well choreographed for, action scenes. Even if they are just kind of, generic action scenes, it's something beyond just the typical, wow, hey, Lois, I'm animated in this one position constantly.
Yeah.
It's just
it's just something to actually look at.
Yeah. We've got the one where Brian dates that younger woman and she's got a son and he bonds with the son, and then she's I don't want to date a dog anymore. He's oh, but I've bonded with your son. There's the one where Peter and Chris start a fraud memorabilia business and sell Quagmire a fake Sully hat. There's the Terminator episode. Pete Terminator. A terrible fucking name. Half my favorite episode and half my least favorite episode is the marrying kind. This is the one where Stewie gets the mail order bride, but also the one where Peter and Chris go on the breakfast motel crusade.
Yeah.
We've got Customer of the Week, which is a bad episode.
Yeah.
I didn't like that episode, but I will say I did like the little musical stings they would do with Lois. It kind of reminded me of like a John Carpenter movie, and I was like, oh. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if that was just like a musical sting from a John Carpenter movie.
I couldn't put my finger on what that was sampling from, but it was from something that I've seen.
See, another example of them taking a movie reference, implementing it into their show, and getting credit for an idea that's ultimately not theirs, like they did with the Fright Night dance scene later. Because they even used like the same song, and I was like, I recognize this. Of all people, I recognize this because I'm a fucking giant Fright Night stan. But yeah, that episode's fucking bad. She ends up like kidnapping some coffee people, trying to become best customer of the week. Let's see. We've got the episode where Peter grows his hair really long and starts a moonshine business, and then that leads to Brian going to the pound and finding out he belonged to a rich family.
And then finding out he's an idiot. Oh,
wow. As if the previous 18 seasons hadn't already firmly established that.
Yeah.
The Young Parent Trap. Which, this is like... I remember when I watched American Dad, there's like an American Dad episode that's copy and paste this exact same plot where like Stan and Francine try to like become like fit in with a crowd of like younger couples that they want to be friends with, but then they're like, oh, I'm so tired and old and I hate this, why am I doing this? It's the same thing here, except Meg and Chris get involved.
This did remind me of
that episode's not good.
That episode did remind me of the Noah Baumbach film While We're Young, which I do genuinely really enjoy, so at least I had that. That's the one where...
I still need to watch that one.
Yeah, that's the one where Ben Stiller and his wife are like, we're going to be friends with Adam Driver and Amanda Seyfried. We don't want to feel old anymore.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Naomi Watts in it with... Yeah, it is. It's Ben Stiller and Naomi Watts. And it's a good movie. I really like Noah Baumbach movies, so...
Well, yeah, I really like the ones I've seen. I need to watch more of his stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if both American Dad and Family Guy had just kind of absorbed that after the movie came out and gone, yeah, we can just do a movie episode, but not give it any credit. Because they like doing that. We got Meg Goes to College. This is the one where she goes to college and Peter also goes to college. It's like an extreme goofy movie, but worse because it's Family Guy. We've got the Family Cat episode, which is the one where Meg gets a cat and almost becomes a cat lady. And it turns out that cats have some sort of like vampiric like ritual where they will choose crazy cat ladies. It's not good. Not a good episode. And then we have the final episode, which is the episode where Cleveland, Peter, and Quagmire take turns sharing sports stories from their past.
Yeah, that one's rough.
Cleveland played baseball in Cuba. Quagmire used to be a big tennis star. And Peter lived the plot of Rocky. Yeah. Not a good one. None of these were good ones.
Yeah. That was a good angle for me.
Yeah, you got the sunlight shining on your face. There's an episode somewhere in here where Peter becomes tall and he...
Yeah, that's in episode 3. There's a joke in that I liked.
Is it the... What joke is it?
Well, it's just a little gag where he's sitting on the couch and Lois is like, I'll help you, but lock the door. And he just like puts his hand out of frame and locks it. And I'm like, that's funny. And then episode 1 had a joke I liked because... Wait, no, was it episode 2? Which one where did he find the magic 8 ball? It was one of those two.
Oh, God.
But in that episode, he's at work and he's like, should I sniff my coworker's hair? And they're like, yes. And then he goes to the HR office and then she's like, if the magic 8-ball told you to jump off the building, would you? And he's like, did it? And then she's like, no, I was just making an example. And you see him outside falling. He's like, I listened to the toy. I laughed at that part. Yeah. And it's not like, I didn't even laugh at either of those. I just kind of smiled a little bit. But I mean, like, hey, 9 hours of content gave me a smile or whatever.
Oh, God.
Or was it, I guess it was 6.5 hours. I don't know. It was too much content.
2 days ago, I was like, I think I'm going to watch through the Wano section of the anime finally for One Piece, because it's been a while, and I haven't watched Acts 2 or 3. And I was like, fuck, I gotta watch 20 episodes of Family Guy. So I did that instead. It was not good. But also, have you seen some of the shit from One Piece? That animation's been popping off the last few episodes. I have not. Like, fuck. Just watch some of the clips. They're good. But,
Family Guy is not good.
Family Guy is not good. No.
Yeah. It's like disturbing.
Yeah. Yeah, I just honestly don't know how a show like this even exists anymore. And it's obviously because a large portion of the population still watches it and still finds this kind of stuff funny, which is depressing.
And I'm not saying, like, I don't think that edgy humor is inherently, like, bad. I think some things can be funny. It's all about the execution. But there's a difference between, like, edgy humor and saying something edgy to make people laugh. Family Guy only does the latter. They only say something edgy to make people laugh. And it's not, when people laugh at something edgy like that, that's not comedy. That's just them proving that they're, like, not great people.
Yeah. I think, like, Bo Burnham does, like, a pretty good job at, like, edgy comedy, if I had to, like, think of an example.
Yeah. I think It's Always Sunny does it. I think Dave Chappelle used to do it. Mm-hmm. I think Dave Chappelle has went on this pipeline where I do think at one point he was pretty funny. But I think at this point, he simply just says stuff to be edgy.
I haven't watched any of his, like, comeback content, so I can't say. But,
still got the highest, I still got the most liked review for that one. And I got, like, 300 hate comments, yeah. I had to turn off the comments on that one. Because it was, like, 2 years later, I'm like, still getting people going like, you fucking snowflake, you don't understand the genius of Dave Chappelle. See, when he says he hates trans people, that's just showing that trans people are dumb. Like, I'm like, what? So I'm just like, I'm tired.
Yeah, I always hate people who are like, see, this is exactly why I hate the alphabet gang. And it's just like, shut the fuck up. Oh my god. I hate people like that. Yeah. It's like, you can't let one person justify your hate for an entire group of people, you fucking assholes. But, yeah, no. Fucking, yeah, just the show has, like, no, like, edgy humor. There's gotta be a tact. There's gotta be an angle. There's gotta be something genuine. Like, there's gotta be a joke. But there is no joke.
I think the scariest part about Family Guy is it was worse. Like, looking at the character of Quagmire, like, those early seasons are horrifying because he just sexually assaults women like every episode.
Yeah. That was one of the things that I'm kind of glad they toned down on, and they even, like, pointed out. And I was like, oh yeah, they kind of do tone down on that. So like, that was kind of nice.
This character doesn't play very well in the Me Too era. And I'm like, yeah, he shouldn't have played well ever, though.
Yeah, right. And it's just like, yeah, like, they have, like, the brief moments. Like, there's a scene where, like, Lois in the Christmas episode, she's like, I'm out of here. And he instantly shows up. And he's like, you're getting divorced? She's like, no, I'm going to Cabo. And he's like, fuck. And it's like, okay, that's less aggressive than he's been in the past.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, ugh.
But they still have the old pedophile in it. They still have all these characters. And it just reminds you that these characters existed in the first place. Family Guy was born from a place of just, like, horrific content. And it's like, there's plenty of edgy things that I like. I don't want... people like to, like, when I talk about things that are edgy and bad, people like to bring up the fact, like, don't you like a Serbian film? I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, the execution of these things matter.
Yeah, speaking of which, I'm part of, like, this anti-film bro group on Facebook, which is interesting. I use it mostly to find, like, some, like, kind of niche recommendations for, like, stuff that I think typically avoid the typical stuff. But I find it interesting because that group has kind of, like, there is no common consensus on what a film bro is. Like, I always consider, like, a film bro to be someone who's like, yeah, like, Scorsese and Tarantino, they're the best. And, like,
I feel like most people
Marvel
will say that
mainstream
a film bro
stuff
likes Pulp Fiction at the very least.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily think that's, like, a sign that someone is a film bro, because, like, well, maybe that's just because I like Pulp Fiction. Well, no, that's
just one of the, like, 20 things you need to be a film bro. It's okay if you like Pulp Fiction. But if you like Pulp Fiction and also think that the Joker is, like, a really well-defined character that you relate to, then you might be a film bro.
Yeah. But, like, it seems like some people think that film bros are, like, the MCU crowd, whereas I had always thought, like, the opposite. I always thought, like, film bros were people who thought, like, that was just, like, surface level garbage, like how Martin Scorsese was like, oh, those aren't real cinema. Yeah. Like, that's always kind of, like, the mindset that I thought of for a film bro. So it's kind of interesting, but there was a thread there that was like, first date, someone says this is their favorite movie, and you walk out. What is it? And there was a large chunk of people that were like, if anyone says a Serbian film, I'm out of there. And I was just like, London.
I mean, if I was on a first date with someone, I don't think I would say that. Because...
I mean, that's fair.
I don't...
That's
usually when I meet people, I don't immediately reveal that I'm into, like, really horrific, like, torture porn-esque films. Like, I don't immediately go, you ever seen Antic? That's not true. I do say that. I do go, you ever seen a Serbian film? But I'm not trying to, like, have a meaningful relationship with most of these people. I just think it's funny. And it is.
Yeah. It can be. But yeah, so a Serbian film. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Family
I would
Guy.
much rather have watched a Serbian film. I was thinking, I'm like,
honestly,
I wish
for
I
the
watched,
runtime alone, yes.
I would have rather watched like 4 Full Moon films. Any 4.
Oh. Any 4 except for maybe like Ooga Booga. I think that would... Dude, that reminds me. They had a fucking clicking joke.
Yeah.
In one of the episodes.
It was like, oh, remember when Peter fell down and was like, they did that, but what if we do have a African person in Africa and he's running and he goes, ooh, and then he makes a clicking noise. It's like, what is wrong with you?
It's like, that breed of joke needs to just be gone. Like, that kind of shit's just, like, not funny.
And it's like, this is really dangerous because, like, even though it's an adult animation, a lot of kids watch it, and a lot of, like, people aren't educated to this. But, like, when I was a kid, because of things like this, I thought that was actually how, like, people communicate. I thought that was, like, real.
Yeah, I won't say that for, like, that joke, because I never assumed that was real. But, like, I get the concept that you're talking about, and I agree. I think that could apply to a lot of different types of jokes or things that they point out about, like, people. Because, like, there's a lot of times where it almost seems like Family Guy is, like, getting on its soapbox and being like, this is wrong what people do. Like, this is, like, something that should be mocked and embarrassing to, like, why do people do this? When it's like, what do you, like, I don't need to be fucking talked down to by Family Guy of all series.
It's like, and it's so frustrating watching the show and it being, like, really hardcore, like, against Trump. And I'm like, cool, I don't like that guy either. But you have made your fortune off of profiting on jokes against minorities and, like, the LGBTQ community. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
fuck you.
Yeah, it's really just an abysmal show. I hope, The Simpsons outlives it. The Simpsons, say what you will about that series, at least it's not fucking, just mean-spirited and racist. It might have some, really ignorant characters, like Apu, who lasted a long time. But at least, Apu was written like a fucking human being, whereas, he had arcs and shit over the course of the series and was treated like a real character. You don't get that from Family Guy. And it's just even with their actual characters, you don't get that.
Yep. I have plenty of issues with The Simpsons now, looking back on it. There are plenty of wrong things with The Simpsons, but you're completely right that it treats its, characters that are people of color as people still, even if there are racist jokes against them or racist stereotypes. There are, legitimate things about them besides their race as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's just that, that just isn't present in this series. If there's an Asian person on screen, they're going to make an Asian joke. If there's a black person on screen, they're more than likely going to make a black person joke. And it's just why? Oh, we lost him. Oh, no.
Are you still recording?
Yeah, I'm still recording.
Yeah, so just rough. Sorry, my computer broke. I don't know why, but Discord just hates me.
Yeah.
I gotta use Mumble or something. Yeah. We should just switch over to Skype.
Yeah, I don't know if I really have much more to say. This is just a very mean-spirited, low-hanging fruit, edgy show.
And the animation has gotten worse.
Yeah, it's not gotten better.
They purposefully just don't animate things. They just have a lot of characters just sitting there. And the jokes have gotten worse. There are multiple episodes where it's just okay, we can't think of anything. Let's have a 3-minute segment where Peter tries to get saran wrap over a plate.
Yeah.
Or, let's have Lois walk to a trash can on the beach. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff like that, and it's just ugh. Sometimes they won't even do that. Sometimes they'll just be we've got a Conway Twitty joke, except there were no Conway Twitties. It was what was
Hudson
the thing
Brothers?
that they were showing? The Hudson Brothers.
Is that a real
obscure
thing?
Old white people shows that nobody ever knows about, but they always clip to, because I'm sure Fox owns the rights to it. And it doesn't help that this show is produced by Fox either, because I don't think I need to dive deeper into that. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory at this point. But it's just this show's fucking awful. I hope after today I never have to watch a single fucking episode again, unless you pick one. I'm drawing my fucking line in the sand. I'm gonna be no more Family Guy for me. I'm done. I served my time.
Yeah, no. Fuck this. This is easily a 1 out of 10. Obviously, I think for both of us, probably.
Yeah. No, this was not good. Not good. If I could give it lower than a 1, I would. If this was on my Full Moon Empire ranking list, it would be at the bottom. Which is saying something, because there is some shit on that fucking list.
Maybe Charles Band is a better creator than someone. Seth MacFarlane. Also, why did they reference Ted 2 so often?
I don't know. I don't know why Ted 2 specifically. It's okay. Whatever. Yeah. Maybe he's real proud of that one. I haven't seen that one. I saw Ted 1
no, it's
and I was
obvious he isn't proud
you.
of that one. And I'm then just leave it alone.
Yeah.
But yeah, never let that's the bag number 3 done.
Yeah, we got I think just 2 more options in the bag, so
I think there should be 4. I think we put 5 each in there.
Yeah, we did. So yeah. Well then. What are we doing?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's watch the Fear Street trilogy.
Okay, cool.
So, what is that? Fear Street, 1994,
1978,
and what is it? 1666? Jumps way back. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, let's do that. That should be fun. Apparently, they're not terrible. I just need to watch something that's like watchable, even if it's not great. I just need something watchable.
Yeah, that's fair. There's certainly gonna be. You're gonna have a much better time than you did with Family Guy.
And Sadie Sink's in the second one. She's in Stranger Things.
She is. I saw one of the seasons she was in. Because I stopped after season 2.
Good. Season 3 is rough.
Yeah. I'm honestly thinking about, like, going back and rewatching the first couple and watching the rest just out of curiosity. Yeah. But maybe I'll wait until the series is just completely over. But yeah. If that ever happens, we'll see.
Well, thanks for watching The Bag, episode 3, also known as Screen Weens, episode 103. It was a rough one, but
it was.
We'll be back better than ever next week.
I'm gonna dab.
Oh God, no! Oh God, no! Oh God, Thomas Griffin is turning into Peter Griffin as we speak.
Lois. Hey, Lois.
All right, bye.
Adios. Anyway.